Welcome back to the program. So, another byproduct of a stolen election is unfettered illegal immigration. We have seen it for the last 4+ years, and we know that now that President Trump is back in office, we've been able to curtail it and been able to stop it. But it doesn't mean that we have taken every single one of these illegal alien criminals out of the country clearly, and especially because of the injunctions from all these crazy judges that actually want these criminals in the country, not necessarily because they want them to commit crimes and kill people, but more for the fact that they want Democrat voters. That's what this is all about. And so we had another one of these crazy idiots go nuts today, and this was in Boulder, Colorado, and it was an Egyptian national who snuck into the country in 2022 and, of course, overstayed his right to be here, his visa, I guess. He had a visa for a while, but overstayed his welcome. And, well, hey, when you don't secure your borders and you foment hatred against certain people and certain religious groups, this is the result. So I've said it once and I'll say it again. The Democratic Party stands for anti-Semitism. It's really that simple. And I don't care if there's Jewish voters in the Democratic Party. They are self-hating Jews, self-loathing Jews, if you will, kind of like Bernie Sanders, Jerry Nadler, Chuck Schumer. These are all, apologists, basically, for Palestine or Palestinians and the rest of these idiots. And we've got to get these people out of the country. We have to get them out of the country. And so hopefully that will be the case. Right now, this psycho is in custody, thankfully. He's being charged with terrorism. He has thrown Molotov cocktails, including on children and the elderly, and burning them. Just really, really sick. It's unbelievable. And it has to stop, but it won't stop. Let me explain something. Anti-Semitism will not stop until the Democrats, mostly, because they're the ones that are the most anti-Semitic, stop it. And I don't see them stopping it anytime soon. Because, like I said, that is who they are. They are racists, they are Nazis, they are Nazi sympathizers, and they're anti-Semitic. And I would hope, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would hope that American Jews finally wake up and realize the Democratic Party is a danger to your life, your liberty, your ability to continue to prosper in America, to be hunted down. The Democrat Party will not protect you from the people that want to kill you. Instead, they will fight for those people to be able to kill you, number one, and number two, to stay in the country. Okay? So American Jews, if you have any brains at all left in your head, please consider voting overwhelmingly for Republicans. Because remember, it is the Republican Party and the evangelical Christian right that will protect Jews and Israel. Because there is no greater friend to the entire country of Israel than the religious right in America. And that's a fact. My thoughts and prayers obviously go out to the victims. Now, let's get on to something else here. Tina Peters, okay? Tina Peters, Gold Star mom, I've been on her show, wonderful, wonderful woman. Locked away for 9 years because she dared to prove voter fraud in Mesa County, Colorado, okay? Well, we're not going to sit back and allow this Gold Star mom to rot away in a jail cell. And so not only has the Department of Justice opened up an investigation into the prosecution of Tina Peters, but other groups have as well, and one of them has filed an appellate brief on her behalf. So let's see, this was done with the help of Patrick Byrne, the former CEO of Overstock.com. I had a chance to interview him a few years ago, interesting character. And Juan O'Savin as well, and a bunch of other people. Peter Tickton, another attorney, good guy, good attorney. Stephanie Lambert, another good attorney. And so these folks are working with a group called American Rights Alliance. Okay, it's a conservative organization, legal organization, that is stepping up, filing these appellate briefs, and trying to appeal this conviction and getting this poor woman out of jail. She should be out of jail, and whatever her name is, Griswold, should be thrown in instead. Okay? So this is what the appeal is based on. It is based on these items here. Number one, whether the district court erred as a matter of law in denying Ms. Peters' motion to dismiss based on her claim of immunity pursuant to the Supremacy Clause and the Privileges or Immunities Clause of the United States Constitution. Whether the evidence was even sufficient for prosecution. Whether the court denied Ms. Peters any due process rights. Whether the district court deprived Ms. Peters of a meaningful opportunity to present a complete defense. Whether the court erred by refusing to instruct the jury on the statutory defense of execution of a public duty and the federal constitutional defense of Supremacy Clause immunity. Whether Ms. Peters had adequate notice of the charges levied against her. Whether the prosecution misled the jury by stating repeatedly that Mrs. Peters' conduct caused a, quote, security breach. Well, okay, let's stop there. We know for a fact that it did not have anything to do or cause a security breach. But you know what did? Griswold, the Secretary of State. She had a major problem because she allowed the information on the drives to go out to the public. You remember that? She's the one that should be prosecuted and put in jail, not Tina Peters. Whether the court erred by refusing to hold a hearing to investigate allegations of improper juror misconduct. Whether the prosecutor's false statement in rebuttal closing arguments requires a brand new trial. And then the last one, whether the district court's sentence violated the First, the Eighth, and the 14th Amendments, and whether the sentence was based in part on a contempt conviction that was later vacated by the Court of Appeals. So to kind of sum it all up, this has a very strong chance of being accepted and the process of getting her out of this horrific situation. She does not deserve to be in a jail cell. All she did was expose voter fraud. She should be given the keys to the city, and she should be treated as a hero. Okay? So we'll see what happens with that. Now, two more things, and then we're done. So CNN has another poll. It's not the one guy, Harry, whatever his name is. It's another dude, but it's the same kind of results basically. So I'll play this one here a little bit. You can hear it for yourself. Here we go.
And this morning we have a brand new CNN.
That's not it. Hang on. It's this one right here. I hit the wrong video. There we go.
How Americans sort of see the parties. Which party is better described as the party with strong leaders? Look at this. Wow. 16% of Americans say Democrats, 40% say that of the Republican Party. Now, overall, no party's doing great. Lots of Americans say neither of these qualities apply to either party, but look at how much worse off the Democrats are. A party that gets things done. Only 19% of Americans say that about the Democrats. 36% say it about the Republicans. In fact, the only place that the Democrats are numerically ahead, party of the middle class, this is basically a tie, though. Yeah. 34% say that of Democrats, 32% say that of Republicans. But this, I think, is the most fascinating. How do partisans talk about their own party? Right? So among Democrats and Democratic leaners, 32% say Democrats are the party with strong leaders. I mean, of their own kind, right? 82% of Republican leaders say that about the GOP. Only 41% of Democrats say they're the party that gets things done of their own kind. And I will just say, 51%, Manu, a majority of Democratic and Democratic leaners say neither party gets the party that gets things done attribute. Imagine that's the project.
But 77% of Republicans say that the parties are getting things done.
The Democrats are working on.
Yeah, and beyond the issues here, there's some structural problems with the Democrats as well.
There are. And again, this is where we ended up on election night in 2024. This is by county.
All right, and then so they go into something else, but it's not very important. But what it basically says is that even the Democrats know at their core that they suck, that they're losers, that they have nothing to offer voters, they have nothing to offer the American people. They're weak, they're weak-minded, they're radical, they're extreme, they're out of touch, and they are no longer a viable option for even the majority of their own party. Now, Republicans, if they were smart, they would take these historically bad conditions and figure out a way to coalesce the party and make sure that they're getting things done, make sure that they're codifying things into law. Don't the Republicans understand that they have a historic opportunity here to not only bury the Democrat Party for like literally forever, but make it the gold standard of the Republican Party that actually listens to what the voters want instead of trying to do their own thing and all the rhinos in the establishment. And that's what they need to do. Now, President Trump has said that he said $1 trillion by the end of his term, this is what he said the other day, will be codified cuts from DOGE into law. I don't know how he's going to do it, but that's what he said that he was going to do, okay? So hopefully he knows something that we don't know. But DOGE didn't do anywhere near the cuts that they were supposed to do or should have done. But they did help basically fire 265,000 federal employees, so that's a huge plus. And not only that, they have systematically reorganized and changed all of the computer systems and how things are done. There's no more cave underneath Washington that takes 3 weeks to do handwritten paperwork or on an old, 1920s typewriter anymore, so that these federal workers take, 3 months to retire. That's gone, okay? People can now retire within 24 hours or less because they have streamlined a lot of these things. And they continue to do that, and that's why DOGE isn't going anywhere. It's continuing to do all that. So the benefits of DOGE, and I would hope at some point, I want to see them codify the Department of Election Integrity. I'm sorry, that's the one I really want. What is it? The Department of Government Efficiency. I would like to see them codify that. Obviously, the DEI office too. But I want to see them codify that. Because if they codify it into law, then that means that you're going to have a constant auditing machine that is watching, regardless of who's in office, from now until, the future forever. And I think that's a really good plus to have in government. An actual government watchdog like DOGE that is codified into law, that is not temporary, and that can't be changed or disrupted based on a Democrat, administration sometime in the future, God forbid, or whatever. And so I think that's the really important thing. So hopefully that's what's going to happen, okay? We'll have to see what happens with that. All right, last thing, and I'm going to wrap up. So this is pretty awesome. One of the things Trump wanted to do, and this is actually something Trump said. Trump said in a rally in 2024, we either defeat the deep state or the deep state defeats us. And that's what he said in a rally. And he said, when I'm elected, I will do whatever I can to dismantle the administrative state. Now, clearly, he has been living up to that. Okay, he's gone after the SES, right? Senior Executive Services personnel. These are the administrative entrenched deep state that stay in Washington regardless of what administration is in office. These are high-level officials that, in a lot of ways, if they don't like the president, they'll just ignore his agenda and not implement it and instead do their own thing. Those days are over, okay? They are 100% over. Not to mention, he did exactly what I suggested he should do in preserving liberty in my Dismantling Washington, D.C. Chapter 4, when I talked about one of the first things he needs to do is he needs to change their designation as federal employees to a Schedule F. By changing it to a Schedule F, you can fire these people. That's exactly what President Trump did. Of course, the left-leaning Marxist, radical, lawyers and judges stepped in and tried to stop him. But in the end, he has been successful, and those people have been fired. Okay? But now what he's doing, this is awesome. He is now going to institute an 80-hour constitutional course for every single administrative, state, executive, and personnel member. Okay? So basically what he's doing is he's saying, you're going to know the Constitution, you're going to abide by the Constitution, and if you don't, we're going to hold you accountable, either being fired or prosecuted. That's what he's saying. As the administration continues to remake the federal bureaucracy to President Trump's liking, the Office of Personnel and Management has developed an intensive new training program for those aspiring to join the senior executive service, the upper echelon of government employees. These are the ones that during COVID obviously never were in the office, and even afterwards were in, having bubble baths and drinking wine and probably playing with themselves and pretending that they were working and collecting a paycheck. And of course, those are the ones that were so angry at Elon Musk and Doge's 5 questions, what did you do this week, right? Because they weren't working. That's why. Well, now they were either forced to work or they were already fired. Per OPM memo obtained by Real Clear Politics, the syllabus includes a coursework grounded in the United States Constitution, in the founding ideals of our government, and Trump's own executive orders. The development program requires 80 hours of video-based training and culminates in 2 days of in-person training in Washington, D.C. It will affect government employees across the administration and disparate agencies and go live this September. Wish they could do it a little sooner, but this September. The stated goal, to ensure that the senior executive services personnel uphold the Constitution and the rule of law and effectively serve the American people. This is the latest effort in the ongoing campaign to crush what the White House sees as an unaccountable administrative state. Trump began slashing and burning his way through the agencies as soon as he returned to office, with a particular emphasis on the senior executive service. Normally, these are little known or little noticed or not even really controversial employees that are indeed the elite of the career civil servants. And they serve just below presidential appointees, and they wield tremendous influence over federal levers of power. To those on the right, this makes the SES the proletarian guard of an allegedly rogue bureaucracy that gave the president fits during his first term. Trump officials felt that they were repeatedly thwarted by these types of bureaucrats who either slow-walked the agenda or outright refused to implement his policies. Either the deep state destroys America, Trump declared during his first major rally of his last campaign, or we destroy the deep state. Well, I can tell you right now, we're going to destroy the deep state. We are going to dismantle the administrative state. This is going to be another way to do it. We still got 3+ years to get all of what's happening in Washington codified. We're going to have to push for it hard, and we're going to hopefully get a lot of it done. We're not going to get it all done, but hopefully we get enough of it done. We've got to get elections under control. That's number one before anything else. But we're going to continue to work. But you know what? I'd rather be working my ass off now in the majority than trying to figure out how to stop a radical extreme majority in the minority. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one.